All right, so we're going to call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order on January 25th, 2024. Would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Shea,
Present.
Commissioner Lemon,
Present.
Commissioner Gregg,
Present.
Commissioner Espadilla,
Present.
Mayor Donches.
Here. So the first item is a motion to approve the agenda as submitted. Commissioner Shea.
I motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Anybody? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is the approving the minutes of the December 14th meeting. Commissioner Lemon.
I move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of December 14th, 2023.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we have public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the Board of Public Works? And if so, just come to one of the chairs here with a microphone. I believe we do have someone. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, so introduce yourself, just,
Yeah, sure. My name is Jonathan Vale.
now you're supposed to, there's a 3-minute time limit, so,
Okay, I understand. I'm trying to make it brief here.
okay.
My name is Jonathan Vale. I'm a Nashua resident. I'm a rancher at the Gate City Bicycle Co-op. I'm on the board of Bike Walk Alliance of New Hampshire, and a cyclist here in the city. I appreciate all the wonderful things we have here in Nashua with the board. I am coming today to see what we can do better about biking and walking in general. In particular, I think the new bike lane in Main Street, I believe putting it in the door zone of the cars and the stuck between active traffic and parked cars, right in the door zone where the car is open, is very dangerous and a step backwards for safety and biking in general. So if I'm going to ask anything, I'd like to see that removed. Maybe go back to the Sharrows, which were the lane sharing signs that we used to have in Main Street, which are a poor substitute for a real bike lane, but at least they legitimize having bicycles being able to use the road. I think that's the short form, and appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to address the Board of Public Works? If you're on the agenda, you would come up when your item comes up. He's on the agenda, right? Yes. Okay. All right, so we have wastewater department. Item A, Commissioner Gregg.
I motion to approve the user warrants as presented.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have solid waste. Item A, Commissioner Espadilla.
I move to approve the purchase of 2 rear load packer waste collection vehicles from McNeilis of Morgantown, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $363,870 for each, for a total of $727,740 pursuant to the Sourcewell, formerly NGPA, contract number 112014-MCN. Funding will be through the Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, CERF, activity CERF.
All right.
Good evening, Michael Rush, Fleet Maintenance Manager. This is a scheduled SURF purchase for the Solid Waste Department. It's going to replace 2 of our much-needed older rear load packers that's used for daily operations, yard waste, sometimes even recycling if need be. The price is a little bit lower than what was in SURF, so, and it is a like-for-like purchase with the equipment that we currently have.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we're on to engineering. Item A, Commissioner Shea.
I motion to approve the sewer service permits and fees as submitted.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item B, Commissioner Lemon.
I move to approve poll license petitions as listed in the staff report.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, Commissioner Gregg.
I motion to approve change order number 3 for the 2023 paving program, contract 1 to Continental Paving Incorporated, Londonderry, New Hampshire, in an amount not to exceed $3.9 million. Funding through the department, 160 admin engineering fund, bond activity paving.
All right, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the new board members. I'm Dan Hudson, city engineer. With me tonight is Deputy City Engineer Mark Saunders. The city is engaged in a 10-year paving program. We're in the second half of that program. We're paving that program is about $7.5 million worth of paving each year. This last year, we bid out 2 paving contracts, Contract 1 and Contract 2. Contract 1, as noted here, was awarded to Continental Paving. It was for arterial roadways, and the highlight of that program last year was paving Main Street. We are seeking to extend Continental's contract for paving in 2024. They've agreed to hold their pricing. The list of streets that we intend to pave under this contract is listed under item M, which is an informational item in the agenda, but the full list is there. But it includes portions of Amherst Street, East Dunstable Road, additional paving on Main Street, Manchester Street, Pine Street, Spitbrook Road, and West Hall Street, and I'd be happy to address any questions.
Anyone? Commissioner Shea.
I imagine if you're seeking to continue with Continental, you're happy with how it's been to work with them?
Yes, absolutely. They did a very professional job on Main Street. That was a very challenging job. They are a big outfit. They have all the equipment and capability to take on the arterial paving in an aggressive manner. We're really happy with how that job turned out. And for that reason, we're looking to continue with them to do some additional arterial roadways, hopefully with the same result.
And I think we've talked about this some time ago, if I may.
Yes.
Do we do some review of the quality of work? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do engage a engineering company to assist us as in daily oversight, as well as a testing firm to actually test the pavement, to make sure that the mix design is what we've specified, to make sure the compaction is as specified, to just ensure that we're getting the quality product that we specify. The engineering company, that's a couple down in the agenda here, that's Hayner Swanson of Nashua, so it's a local firm. We've worked with them for a number of years. They're very familiar with our requirements, and help us ensure that we get what we're paying for. So.
Good. Appreciate that. Thank you.
And we're still inspecting at the plant, the production plant, right?
Yeah, the testing firm does. They grab samples at the testing plant. That's the mix design portion. Make sure it has the right amount of asphalt and the various gradation of the aggregates. But then also, you're right. But then we also look at in the field, both just observing the work and doing that additional testing.
Okay. All right, any other comments, questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have item D, Commissioner Espitia.
To approve the change order, I move to approve the change order 3 for the 2023 paving program, contract 2 to Sunshine Paving Corporation of Hudson, New Hampshire, in an amount not to exceed $5.2 million, funding through Department 160 Admin/Engineering Fund, bond activity paving.
Again, Dan Hudson, city engineer. So the second contract that was awarded last year was to Sunshine Paving. They operate out of a neighboring community here, but they've worked with us, I think, since 2019. Every year we bid out. They've won the contract through competitive bidding. We're seeking to extend their contract into 2024, similar to Continental. We've reviewed pricing with them. They need to increase some of their pricing. just due to changes in market conditions. So they're not as big as Continental. They don't have their own milling machine and things like that. So some of the work that they require subcontractor support with, they've needed to increase the pricing with that. But where they've increased pricing, it's in alignment with the other companies that bid last year. We have, again, we've worked with Sunshine for a number of years here, so we have a good working relationship with them. Have been satisfied with the work, and so we're seeking to extend their contract similar to Continental's contract. Be happy to address any questions.
Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is item E, Commissioner Shea.
I motion to approve the engineering services contract with Hayner Swanson Incorporated of Nashua, New Hampshire in the amount of $400,000 for the management and construction administration of the paving program, funding through Department 160, Admin Engineering, Fund, Bond Activity Paving.
Again, Dan Hudson, City Engineer. So this is the contract I spoke of earlier, the engineering support. This is a large paving program we run. It's not possible for us to be everywhere we would need to be with our staffing. So we do contract with Hayner Swanson to provide that support. They have 1 or 2 in the field people all summer, watching the paving, coordinating with us, helping administer the contract, and assisting with the testing and whatnot. So again, we've worked with them for a number of years. We'd like to continue working with them, and we're seeking approval of this contract to continue that relationship. They also do a lot of work with us with the sewer program, so that also helps just in coordination between the various work that we have going on in the city. Be happy to address any questions.
Anyone? All those in favor, oops, Commissioner Shea, you almost lost out.
Thank you, appreciate it. So for the $400,000, that's like a 10% markup on the cost of just the continental portion of the paving, right?
Yes.
And so my question to you is, do you see that as a good value for us? Do you see that as necessary? And on the long run, does it present potential opportunity for savings, just by virtue of not having to redo stuff?
So yes, I do. The amount of this contract, although it appears large, when you have somebody in the field all the time, or multiple people in the field all the time, that does add up quickly. For us, the city, in the engineering department, we have 2 inspectors that inspect all the other work that's going on in the city, all the utility cuts, all the private development construction work. So, and then in the engineering staff, we just don't have the capacity to provide that in-the-field support. Construction engineering, is on the order of 10% typically for contracts between the Continental and the Sunshine, which they're overseeing both those contracts for us or helping us with it. The pricing is very reasonable for the service they provide.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, F, Commissioner Lemon.
I move to approve the engineering services contract with CMA Engineers Incorporated of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount not to exceed $137,246 for the engineering study and management of the Lock Street and Whitney Street pedestrian and bicycle improvements project, funding through Department 181 Community Development, Fund, Grant and Capital, Activity, Lock Street and Whitney Street.
Again, Dan Hudson, City Engineer. So this is a contract that we're excited to get going with, although it's been a very long time coming. This is in the state's program of projects. It's a local project administered project. So in other words, the city of Nashua is the one that administers the contract in accordance with all the state requirements with their oversight. It's taken a while to get this launched. There was some confusion about the scope, and DOT held us up for about a year on this, but we finally reached the point that we've negotiated an engineering study phase of the project, and we're ready to get going with design. The project as envisioned will make Locke and Whitney streets one-way, and it will add a bike lane, fully reconstruct the sidewalk on one side of the road, and the other side of the road, the access to the sidewalk will be improved. But that's the scope of the project, and we look forward to getting going with it upon everyone's approval.
The underlying problem which this seeks to address is that the Locke Street sidewalks are not really pedestrian accessible for anyone with a disability at all, because there are just too many obstacles. Light poles, people's stairways coming down to into the sidewalk. So the sidewalk will be expanded, widened, and that will mean the street needs to be narrowed, which means it can really only be one way. So Whitney Street, which is parallel, will be made one way the other way. So it'll be one-way pair. And we will then, and Locke Street serves, at least for the time being, Mount Pleasant and, you know, walk-in school. There are a lot of walkers in the area to the school and otherwise. So this is designed to improve pedestrian and bike traffic. Yes,
So
Commissioner
does this
Lemon.
incorporate the, I know there is a grant
Yes,
from, so that's part of this project?
yes.
Okay.
This is grant fund, well, there's a matching component to it,
Yeah.
but this is principally grant money through what, CMAC, right? Congestion mitigation, or?
I'm sad to say I forget, but I believe you're correct, because it's been a while. But yeah, I believe it's 80/20, where the city is on the hook for 20% of the cost, and the state for 80% of the cost. So good value to the city to improve the infrastructure. But you do have to follow their rules and go through their program, and that's what we'll do.
I believe that this is also, part of the grant is the one, safe paths to schools?
I think this is something separate.
Okay, because that's also, there's also grant money there,
Right,
so.
right.
Okay.
Commissioner Spitia.
Thank you. And have you engaged residents and heard feedback from them about the idea of this?
So good question. In the lead up to making the grant application with the state, there's some neighborhood meetings, and they kind of coalesced around what this concept would be. So there's a lot of background there that community development had worked on. We'll have to do that, kind of go through the same process again to a degree. There'll be a number of public meetings where we solicit input. The first one's usually a local concerns meeting. You go and you just gather all people's complaints, concerns, whatever. And then we'll go back, we'll do some design, and we'll come back with some alternatives and select a preferred alternative. So there definitely will be a public input will be a large part of this project. And so hopefully when we come out the other end of this design and moving into construction, it's a project that the community is happy with and meets the needs that are expressed.
Awesome, thank you.
Commissioner Shea.
I'm very enthused about this project. This is like one of the things that the city has been considering for some time that I am just super excited about. So the visioning for this project goes way back to like the Visualized Nashua days, and at the time James Veo had reached out to Plan New Hampshire. They will do a planning exercise for community. They'll come down, do the meetings and kind of work through the troubles of the neighborhood and the opportunities to improve upon those things. And I think, Mayor, we stood in Foster Square, what was it, 2016, maybe 17?
I don't know. It's been a long time.
To share the news about that grant. And I know that the 10-year is one of those things that takes time. It's 10-year, right? And some of the kind of beat up parts of the road in that in French Hill go back to like Tiger Grant days from like the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, and the utilities, like some of the oldest infrastructure in the city, they have just been in there every year, every summer, working on all of that stuff. So it's really great that we've got the kind of underwork done for this. I think that it presents a lot of opportunities for the neighborhood, quality of life. The project, or at least the vision that the community came up with way back when, called for lots of great things like bike lanes, bump outs, traffic calming measures, and addressing the issue of traffic through the neighborhood from BAE. And it's really an excellent thing that we've continued to focus on this and see it through. This project would not exist, I don't believe, I could be wrong, but if not for the perseverance and continued enthusiasm from Alderman Patricia Klee from Ward 3, and all of her work at the state to advocate for this. It's really a great thing. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to share on that, and I will support this.
Anyone else? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're on to item G. Commissioner Gregg.
I move to approve the award of the construction contract for the Nashua High School South Pedestrian Bridge Project to Evrox Corporation of Tilton, New Hampshire, in the amount of $735,695. Funding will be through Department 160 Admin Engineering and 177 Park Recreation. Fund Capital and Trust, Activity Bridge Rehab.
Again, Dan Hudson, City Engineer. So this is a pedestrian bridge in Mine Falls, adjacent to Nashua High School South. The bridge, we became aware of a significant issue with the bridge back in April of 2022. We had to urgently close the bridge for public safety. We secured a temporary bridge, which was placed nearby to continue pedestrian passage across the Nashua Canal. We have since gone through a design process, and we've bid out for construction a replacement bridge, and we're seeking to award that through this item. We bid it out. We received 5 bids. Everox Corporation of Tilton, New Hampshire was the low bidder. We did have a bid alternate that we were considering, which was relocating that temporary bridge over to Rotary Park, but the disposition of the dam over there which Pennachuck owns, is in question. That may need to be removed, rehabbed or something, so really the timing wasn't right to put a bridge over there. So for that reason, we're recommending awarding the base bid, and ultimately we'll have to find out or decide what to do with that temporary bridge, either relocate it to a different location or sell it, or those sorts of things. But for now, we're suggesting or recommending moving forward with the base bid award, and I'd be happy to address any questions.
Anyone?
Am I
Commissioner
right?
Lemon.
Did we see a proposed design of it? Is there a final design already or
There-
not?
Yes, there is, and I think we're gonna have a workshop, and we'll bring you the details of that. It's going to be a truss bridge, steel, with a concrete deck, which will ease maintenance. The bridge that fell into disrepair had glued laminate beams, and they rotted along the center of the beam, so basically one of the arches kind of split in half. So this bridge will meet 10-ton loading, which will enable us to, cross it with emergency equipment and maintenance equipment, and hopefully be durable for a long period of time and easily maintainable for the city. It is attractive too.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
The other thing, I know this is a silly question. When we needed a temporary bridge, we were fortunate to find one. Is there like a market for temporary bridges? Can we put it in a warehouse someplace and just hold on to? I have no idea, and it's pretty big, so.
Yeah, it's a very long, narrow bridge, which is a little interesting, it's a little bit flexy, so to speak, if you're running across it, but But no, it definitely will have utilization either to us in another location or to another community. We purchased the bridge from as it was coming off another construction project in Peterborough.
That's right, I remember
Yeah,
that,
where they
yeah.
had where they were done with it. So I'm sure we could do the same here. And we'll have to make those decisions in the future. But this will at least, awarding this, and it's going to take a while, awarding this will enable the bridge contractor to order the bridge, which will take about a year to get here, unfortunately. So we're looking at construction in 2025. But at any rate, this will allow us to move forward with the replacement.
Thank you.
Next item is item H.
Need a
we have to
motion?
make a vote.
Need a motion?
Oh, did we do a motion? We didn't do a
We
motion
need
at
a
all?
motion, we need
Oh,
a
we did
vote.
Oh, we haven't
Yeah.
voted, okay, sorry. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is item H, Commissioner Spitia.
I move to approve the award of the construction engineering services contract for, wrong one. Or, no, yeah, right. For National High School South Pedestrian Bridge Project to Hoyle, Tanner and Associates of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $99,403. Funding will be through the Department 160 Admin Engineering Fund, Capital Activity Bridge Rehab.
Again, Dan Hudson, city engineer. So this is the construction engineering for the bridge construction. Hoyle Tanner is the bridge engineer that designed it, and they're be the one that'll help us oversee construction. I didn't mention on the other one, but these construction phase contracts are all time-based. It's not, so they're gonna bill us for the actual time that they work on the project, not more. So these contracts in the final disposition may come under the amounts that we have specified, but given what they foresee is needed for work, and our review of that as well, this is the proposal, for their support.
All right, any comments, questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is item A, Commissioner Shea. Item I, Commissioner Shea.
I
I
motion.
don't know where A came from, but
I motion to approve the engineering services contract for tasks required by the EPA MS4 permit with Hazen and Sawyer PC of Manchester, Massachusetts. Is that correct? In an amount of $187,000, $187,441. Funding will be through Department 169 wastewater, fund wastewater, activity, stormwater abatement.
Again, Dan Hudson, city engineer. So the city is under a stormwater permit with the EPA, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit, as it's called, or MS4. That allows us to discharge stormwater to the waters of the U.S. In order to be in compliance with that permit, we need to file an annual report, but also we need to do stormwater testing and chase illicit discharges and those sorts of things, all in the interest of stormwater quality and treatment. So city has, at least 359 outfalls. We have to go to each one, assess it, test it, that sort of thing. So Hazen was hired in 2021. They've assisted us since then with complying with this permit. This contract here will take us through the next 2 years of permitting requirement and allow us to stay in compliance. Be happy to address any questions.
comments, anyone, questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item J, Commissioner Lemon.
Motion is to consider the hardship request from Mr. Karash Gamari of 24 La France Avenue to excavate in La France Avenue to install a gas service.
So just come up. Sorry, a little naive.
I'll briefly introduce it, and then Karash can speak to it. But Karash is requesting waiver from a hardship. So this is The city has a paving program I mentioned before. When a road gets paved, it goes into moratorium for a 5-year period. Cuts to the roadway can only happen under emergency situations, like a gas leak, that sort of thing. Or those that are approved by the board, should you find that they meet a certain level of hardship need. So this is one that Koresh has a failing oil heating system. He wants to move to natural gas. This is probably one we wouldn't bring forward except for the extenuating circumstances. In this case, a sewer service was previously replaced and cut the road. That was an emergency. The city also came in and received board approval to do some drainage work across the street. So the road was cut for that as well. So there's been a few different issues in this area where this has been cut already. The city hasn't yet gone and done the moratorium restoration, which requires milling and repaving 20 feet beyond any excavated trench. And so we intend to do that, so it seems like this would be the time to, with the board's approval, to allow this to occur, allow this gas service to be provided, and then we will restore the area, and all those trenches that were cut for emergency reasons will be restored. Anything to add to that?
No, that sums it up way
Sorry.
better than I could have.
Sorry to steal your thunder, but I did
Happy to
want
answer any questions.
I did want to share the extenuating circumstances.
Any questions or comments? Commissioner Shea?
Is this the property that had the sand kind of washing in front of the driveway, or is this a different, I don't know
Right
if you're-
across the street from that, so
You're across the street from
that's
that?
my neighbor's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I-
across the
you know,
street must have been the
yeah.
drainage
Exactly.
repair. Like
Okay.
I think we put in an infiltration structure and maybe some other piping, so I think that may be what you're speaking to.
Well, if you were affected by the drainage issue, thanks to you and your neighbor for your patience as we work to resolve the issue. And that's all I really have to say. I don't have any questions other than that. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, thank you. Next, item K, Commissioner Gregg.
Motion to consider the hardship request from Pine Street Flats LLC to excavate in Lake Street to install signal equipment conduit.
This one I'll let the applicant speak to. It's, a trench was cut across the road, I think maybe due to a miscommunication or whatever, but, so this is kind of, sort of an after-the-fact approval that's being requested, but I'll turn it over so you can speak to it.
Brian Corvo, owner, general contractor for the project. We did a 20-unit apartment building on the corner of Pine and Lake. Part of our approval was we have a parking lot that's across the street, so the unit owners have to cross Lake Street to get to their apartments. So part of our approval was to improve the sidewalks in that area. We did the sidewalks on 3 corners. And we had to do signaling as well, as there was no crosswalk going across Lake Street on the west side of Pine Street. So part of the approval was to put in a pedestrian signal and a crosswalk there. As the project started, there was a company doing work on the other side of Pine Street. It was a light company. And they had the sidewalk dug up, and they're redoing the lights on the other side of the street. So we approached them about our situation, eventually contracted with them. They knew Lake Street was under moratorium. They said they had alternatives, sent us some brochures for solar units. And as it turns out, when they showed up, I wasn't on site. I think my brother had shown up while they were there, while they were mobilizing. And they said that, they'd have to get some conduit across somehow to the other side. So, this company obviously was doing work in the right-of-way across the street. We assumed they knew the proper protocols. My brother gave them the inspector for the project, Bob, gave him his name and number, and said that's the inspector. Contact him, and, because whatever, if they had to go across Pine Street, they go across, there's ways they could have done it. I guess we showed up a couple days later, and they trenched right across Lake Street. So here we are asking for an after the fact. Obviously, it falls on us as the developer owner. We'll probably have our issues with them later, but, you know, I gotta ask for the after fact approval for this, and we'll mill the road and it's 20 feet either side and fix it how it should be, and, you know, deal with electric light at a later point.
And when do you think the units are going to be occupied, or are they already?
They are occupied.
All of them? You filled it up, or?
Not quite, but it's, I'd say probably by February 1st, probably half.
And when did you first make them available? Just, this has really
January-
nothing to do with the hardship, but I'm just.
Yeah, January 15th or so, I think we got our temporary CO.
Okay. All right, any questions, comments? Commissioner Shea?
It seems like an honest mistake on your part, maybe not exactly an honest mistake, more so like a not minding the rules on the part of the other company. Regardless, I appreciate you coming to us and bringing it to our attention, and appreciate you bringing more housing to Nashua. It's really important, so.
Thank
I will support this, and thank you also for the pedestrian improvements. I know that tacks on a cost to the project, and you know, you may or may not have been compelled to do it by virtue of approvals, but regardless, anything that we can do as part of these projects to improve safety and access for the neighborhood is great. So thank you for that, and I will support it.
All right, anyone else? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, the next three items are street items. L, M, and N are informational items. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding any of those three informational items? If not, we'll go to administration. Yes.
Yeah, would it be okay, all senior staff is here, it would be nice if they could introduce themselves to
That sounds good.
our new commissioners, would that be okay?
Yes, of course.
So, Carol O'Connor, I'm the finance manager for the division.
Jonathan Ivera, Superintendent of Street Department.
Now, Blank, Operations Manager?
Lauren Byers, Communications and Recreation Administrator.
I am Brian Conant, I'm the Superintendent of the Parks and Recreation Department. I'm Michael Rush, Fleet Maintenance Manager. Welcome.
Heard enough from me.
I'm Lauren Sutherland, I'm the GIS specialist.
And Mark Saunders, Deputy City Engineer. David Boucher, Wastewater Superintendent. Andy Patricia, Assistant Director in Building Maintenance.
All right. All right, item A is to, well, you see item A. Commissioner Espetia.
I move to approve the proposed 2024 regular meeting dates for the Board of Public Works.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item B is the election of the vice chair of the board. Is there anyone who would like to nominate a vice chair? Commissioner Lemon.
I would like to nominate Paul Shea as the vice chair of the Board of Public Works.
All right, any other nominations? If not, I will declare the nominations closed, and we will, though, take a vote. All those in favor of electing Commissioner Shea as the vice chair of the Board of Public Works, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Commissioner Shea. You are now the vice chair of the board, and
Big shoes to fill.
yes,
But
yes.
thank you, and thank you.
Now, the next item is C. A member of the Board of Public Works serves on the BPW Pension Fund. This is the only city-run pension, and this is for Board of Public Works employees. All other employees are in the state pension system. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to serve on the pension board?
Can I ask a question first?
Yes.
How much time is involved?
They meet once a month,
They
maybe?
meet, yeah, usually once a month, and it's during the day. That's the only challenge. It's usually at 11:30
What-
on a Tuesday, I think, typically. Is that? Yeah,
Does it have to be in person?
once a month. Yes.
And if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
So I've served on this board for the last 2 years. It's been very interesting. There are, it's kind of regular administrative business where you will approve disbursements to retirees, death benefits, God forbid, and approvals for the payments to the companies that do the work of administering the portfolio. There's very little there's a mild amount of direction that the group does in terms of the fund itself, but that is really all administered by the financial professionals, and the board kind of oversees their work. It gets regular updates. So that was one of the most interesting things for me during the time is market insights, and perspectives on the economy and areas of risk from the companies that we work with. And yeah, it's been good and interesting. And but I would be glad if anybody else would like to take the opportunity to be a part of it.
I'll volunteer. I mean, if you want it, go for it.
I actually would love to,
Go for it.
but I want to make sure that,
No, I was just thinking, and that it would be a good way for me to get out of some meetings at work, but that's really not the right reason. So, all yours.
All right, so we will appoint Commissioner Gregg as the BPW Pension Board representative. Next is discussion of the garage, the DPW garage, and I assume that's Director Photo? Yes.
So that is really phase 2 of this project. We built this great building, and it's serving us very well. It's exactly really what we needed. But we're still having challenges with trying to operate out of this building without a garage. We have the snow equipment, of course, needs to be stored inside. So Park and Rec is still at Greeley Park, unfortunately, and Streets is still at Stadium Drive. So, and it's been really a challenge to try to operate out of 2 different buildings. We have 400 pieces of equipment, which is equates to about $40 million worth.
40 million?
40
Because we
million,
were going to get
yeah.
that number.
Most of which is stored outside, which isn't great. It's snow covered. The sun fades, causing dry rot on harnesses and tires. There's a lot of maintenance issues. Rodents get inside and destroy wiring. I'm sure I could go on and on. There's lots of working hours cleaning off snow. Also trying to warm up the equipment. Frozen air lines and brake lines. We have inadequate break rooms for staff. We have beautiful break rooms here. I've had staff ask, well, why can't we run snow operations out of the new building? We can't really because of the maintenance garage is at Stadium Drive as well as the covered storage. So we're hoping to begin the design phase of the garage. We have $2.3 million left over from this building, and we'd like to, that would need to be repurposed by the Board of Aldermen. And we would really love to have a positive recommendation to the Board of Aldermen from the Board of Public Works for this project and for the legislation that will be going in to repurpose the funds. Questions on I mean, next, if you're interested in next steps would be to, the first thing is repurposing the money through legislation, which I think the mayor and Alderman Dowd and Alderman O'Brien, as our liaisons, will be sponsoring. And then we'll send out an RFQ for architects. And then we have joint, Commissioner Shea and Lemon are familiar with this, we have a joint infrastructure and Board of Public Works committee that meets and we will ask to reconvene that group, so, and then, move forward.
Assuming it would be here, where would you put this garage? I mean, I would assume it'd have to be very big.
Yes, well, we have a limited amount of time, so we'll see what we can build, but it's right behind this building. So
Okay.
this building was designed with the idea that a
Garage
garage
would
would
be there.
eventually be there. Yeah, so the solid waste building that's here would be torn down, to make room for it.
So, two questions. One, would the fill up, like where they fill up gas, diesel, all that stuff, still stay over there, or, and not come with the garage?
It's a good question, yeah, that's the plan. The
Okay.
plan is that the fuel pumps, because
Okay.
everybody uses
The
that
fuel.
PD, fire,
Mm-hmm.
city hall departments, ambulance, they all use that, so the plan is that the fuel pumps will stay.
And then we don't have an idea on cost yet, do we?
We don't. We'll have a better idea once we go through the design
Engineering, yeah.
phase.
And,
Go ahead.
and what departments would operate out of this building? Or divisions?
All public works departments with the exception of wastewater. So solid waste, parks and rec, streets, administration and engineering, of course, is already here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I would definitely support this, having toured the garages in the winter, and had a bird fly into my face. I also know, I mean, my father was a snow guy, for the Board of Public Works in Massachusetts, how frustrating it is when you don't have everybody in the division in the same place, at least at the beginning of the shift, and everyone knows where to go back to, and it's not fair to our workers. They deserve some equity. I mean, they're doing a hard job as it is, and they come into the building, and it looked like my high school locker room, the break room. So I would be in favor of this.
Thank you. The other thing that I didn't mention, and I will mention on behalf of our fleet manager, if we were a private company, our garage would be condemned.
Yeah,
They're
you would not
allowed
be allowed to have that, no, no, no.
It's that bad, so.
I was just gonna add that, having toured kind of the city and seeing where we're placing vehicles wherever we can possibly put them, I think that definitely the design phase we need to go through the entire design phase, and then at that point, we need to just make a decision to potentially figure out how we can bring the fleet together, especially because we are looking at converting some of our vehicles to electric, and you can't really leave electric vehicles outside for the longevity of the battery. So, now that we know that we're kind of heading in that direction for many of our vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
Have a motion.
Okay,
Make a motion
do you want to do a motion now to,
to the Board of Aldermen,
uh,
it would be a positive recommendation to the Board of Aldermen to repurpose,
no, the legislation will come here as well. I assume that we'll refer that here. But, well, so the motion that Director Photo is asking for is to approve the idea of proceeding with the design using the funds that are remaining from the construction of the office building.
I do have a question.
And but is there that motion first? Alderman, does someone make that motion?
I'll,
All
well,
right, it's made by Commissioner Lemon. Commissioner Shea.
For Parks and Recreation, would there be a presence maintained at Greeley? What's your vision for that?
yes, there definitely would be. Most of those buildings would be probably torn down, but there would still be a building remaining. The stone building, that's behind the office building, we're thinking would stay. So yes, we still would have a presence there. There would still be an employee
Tractors
there
and-
and equipment there to maintain the park, yes.
I will not be sad to see some of those buildings go. I mean, the park
No,
is, I'm sure you'll be heartbroken.
All right, any other discussion? So the motion is to approve the idea of using the money, the remaining money for design. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We next have the director's report.
Okay, there are, I think Claire sent you all an email regarding Walnut Street Oval meeting that we'll be having. This is just really a kickoff meeting to obtain input from constituents, so hopefully if you could attend. It will be at City Hall on January 30th at 6 p.m. We also have another, we don't have a flyer yet for it, but we have another meeting coming up for the West Hollis Street Corridor. This is something that has been on our radar for a while. I'm glad this is finally happening. It's really tough for folks who live off of West Hollis Street to get in and out. So we will be hosting a meeting to obtain input on February 6th at 6 p.m. and that meeting will be here in our DPW building. This is a picture of a Foster Court sewer replacement that was done on October 17th. On December 22nd, RWC constructed a new double grate catch basin on Pinehurst Ave to capture stormwater runoff that has historically caused icing in the Pinehurst Avenue and Timberline Drive intersection. Registration will open for Babe Ruth softball and baseball on February 1st. And you can access that through Rec Desk off of our website. We have skating currently at Roby Park. Unfortunately, we have not been able to make ice at Four Corners and Levine yet because of the weather, but we do have ice at Roby. And I would ask that people please adhere to the rules. We've had a lot of problems with, there are times when you can ice skate and times when you can play hockey. We've had issues with people playing hockey the entire time and people are getting hurt. So please adhere to the rules, which are very well posted. There is fresh snow at Greeley Park right now. This picture shows a family enjoying sledding down the hill in front of the band shell. We've done some Holman Stadium winter work right now. The Park and Rec staff laid down some winter turf covers at Holman Stadium. This is done to accelerate green and growth in the spring by increasing soil temperatures. This is, the Park and Rec department has a lot of tree work. This is a picture of them taking down some trees at the police department near our old building that they now occupy. This is an ADA tip-down repair at the intersection of Concord and Cortlandt Streets. The street department crews installed a new rapid flashing beacon at the crosswalk located at 67 Amherst Street, which is near Holman Stadium. We have, on a regular basis, when we know we're having heavy rains, we're constantly unclogging catch basins. This is an example at 8 Railcrest Drive. There is a brick wall next to the concession at Holman Stadium, and it was cracked and tilted. In mid-December, our street department crews demolished the existing wall and are reconstructing a brand new wall. We had a door replacement project at the wastewater treatment plant, which is a big deal. It's a very corrosive environment. They're very heavy metal doors, and we're finally complete. We finally completed that, and we believe that we'll have a huge energy savings from that with the new doors. The wastewater facility had a second heat exchanger installed to provide heat to the primary digester. For 24 years, the facility has only had the one heat exchanger, which is part of a very important digester infrastructure. So without it, we can't produce our Class B biosolids, so it was really important to have that redundancy. This is the control room at the wastewater facility. It had outdated lighting. We put in some new drop ceiling and updated LED lighting, which has made a huge difference. The Floral Hills Landfill and Natural Recycling Center will be closed on Monday, February 19th in observance of President's Day, so all collections will be delayed by one day that week. And with the snow upon us, we want to remind residents, please put your cards out at the curb and not on snowbanks. We can't collect them if they're buried in snow or on snowbanks. And And the cart should be at least 3 feet apart, away from other objects, and 10 feet away from any parked car. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Anyone? All right, I think Director Photo was also going to talk about the city projects workshop that needs to be scheduled.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So we have several projects that we are involved in. Some are being run by Public Works, some run by other departments, but nonetheless touch Public Works. So we'd love to have a workshop where we could update you on all these projects. It's really too much to do in a meeting. So I just wanted to ask the commissioners, is there any dates or times that might work better so we can try to get this scheduled?
For me, the worst day of the week is Tuesday, and it's
Okay.
like all back-to-back soup kitchen meetings and hunger meetings.
Okay.
So other than that, I can be flexible.
Fridays are pretty good for me.
Fridays are
I
good
mean,
for
I'm
you?
pretty flexible in general. I think worst days are Mondays, but
Okay.
I feel like for the last 6 weeks, I've had a kid out of school for 1 day every, like, week. But other than that, I'm pretty flexible on weekdays.
when are you thinking, or on what time?
Can we do during the day? That was the other question I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
that,
What is
I can do during the day.
Yeah,
Okay,
we just gotta have notice.
okay. Mornings or afternoons?
Doesn't matter, as long as it's not Tuesday.
Okay. So why don't we shoot for Fridays? That seems like
That works fine.
might work for everybody, and we'll find a time. And I also want to include Director Cummings and Sullivan in this meeting, so I'll look at their schedules.
You
All
know,
right,
Thank you.
I was gonna say one last thing.
we'll let you know about that. Commissioner
Sure.
Spetia.
Just, my one note would probably be to post the 9th of February, like, just because well, for my own personal reasons, but as my wife's due date's the 8th, so anytime after that would be great.
After February 9th,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, well, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, after the 9th of February. Well, maybe we should push that a little bit more, because you never know what's going to happen there. All right, so commissioners' comments. Any commissioners have comments?
Oh, I did want to mention to you, Lisa, there's been some Facebook activity about people bringing firewood to homeless people, and it's all done by social media organizing. So I think it's probably in Mine Falls, so you might, it looks like Mine Falls to me from the very small, picture they had. So, I was gonna bring it up at the homeless encampment meeting, but we didn't have one because it was canceled due to snow. And we know it's happening because people are showing up at our station covered in soot, absolutely covered in soot. So I assume it's there because I think that's probably the only place you could get away with having that big a fire without people seeing it, so.
That's really dangerous.
It is incredibly dangerous.
We'll take a look at that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Commissioner Shea.
I just want to say how enthused I am to work with Commissioner Spetia and Greg. Just the enthusiasm for a lot of like the complete streets ideas and pedestrian safety and infrastructure during the campaign was impressive. And I think we're going to get a lot of good things done. So appreciate you stepping up and looking forward to working with you.
One thing we should add to our workshop is we are seeking a raise grant to make Main Street more pedestrian friendly.
Oh.
So, but we haven't gotten the grant.
Right.
We were declined, but apparently came very close, and so there's gonna be a reapplication. But we could get, somebody, probably Matt or somebody to
Yep.
come in and talk about that.
Yes. That is
During, is that on the list?
It is,
Yeah, okay, good.
yes. Yep.
And I had
Go ahead.
another thought, and I lost it, and you reminded me. For Main Street, Mr. Vail came in tonight and talked about the bike lanes. I am in agreement with him, that Sharrows in the far right lane would be a far superior, situation for Nashua. Even if that's in the near term, and looking to do like a more substantial set of improvements as a result of this, grant and exercise. I don't know if that's something that we have the capacity to, do ourselves. I would imagine it is, kind of it's aligning, project. And you're familiar with this whole Sharrow? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And Commissioner Speedy, are you familiar? Everybody?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and so, for the public, really, a Sharrow is one of those things where it's an image of a bike, and then you have a couple of chevrons, which are the pointing arrows, on top of it, and it's a reminder, because it is the law to share the road with bicycles. And, but it's a visual reminder in an area that is congested, and, people may have an increased amount of anxiety as they work through the traffic of downtown. So it's a friendly reminder, and a reminder to bicyclists to choose that right lane, so that cars can get by on the left. And if that's something that we can deploy, out of the department, I think that would be worth evaluating, and considering.
Certainly look into that. Bikes on Main Street is, right now, it's going to be very difficult to try to do that safely, but we'll certainly look at it.
Well, yeah.
But we certainly, we can look at it more if we get that base grant.
Yeah, and the bike lane, I know that he advocated it for it to be removed, but I do think that it creates a sense of, space where the car should be. And increases safety for people opening their doors. I forget who it was, but somebody was joking at one point that it's not a bike lane, it's a open your car door lane. And so I wouldn't say that ought to be removed, really, the Sharrows. And whether or not bicycles are on the street, and whether or not people are riding them safely, or cars are riding them cars are being safe when they're driving, that's an individual responsibility issue. On our end, what we can do to improve safety is to do a deployment like that. It's a little sticky sometimes downtown, with the scooters and with the bicycle, and I steadfastly will ride a scooter up Main Street, and they don't carry me too quickly when you're going uphill. And it's, to create that sense of ownership among two-wheeled vehicles of the road that they are entitled to, I think is an important part of our work.
Commissioner Espitia.
Well, I'd just like to thank both Commissioner Shea and Commissioner Lemon for welcoming myself and Commissioner Gregg to the board. We're very excited to be helpful in this process of, and also want to make sure that we can help our pedestrian friends and folks who decided to be in two-wheel vehicles. Also very excited about the Walnut Street Oval reconstruction. Somebody who formerly represented this area in the legislature, just pedestrian safety and just infrastructure in the area is so important. So making sure that folks feel like they can, walk around it safely, but also the intricate dance that everyone has to play within the yields, and what is a yield, what's not, what is a stop sign. And so making sure that we can clean up that and, calm traffic for as people get into Main Street or onto the Broad Street Parkway or Veterans Parkway, it's gonna be so helpful. So excited to be there on Monday.
Okay, great. All right, well, now we'll go on to personnel. Item A, Commissioner Shea.
I move by roll call, that the board go into non-public
No, wait,
session.
no, wait.
Oop, sorry, am I reading the wrong thing? Sorry.
All right, we're not to non-public yet.
Okay,
We're on item A of personnel.
thank you. I motion to approve and unseal the non-public minutes for personnel in the Board of Public Works meeting for December 14th, 2023.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item B, Commissioner Lemon.
I move to accept the resignation of Joseph Santon, Mechanic 1, effective January 20th, 2024.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, Commissioner Espitia.
I move to accept the resignation of Michael Valeris, truck driver, effective February 2nd, 2024.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, we have the non-public motion.
I move-
Commissioner Shea.
Thank you. I move by roll call that the board go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
Could you call the roll, please?
I have to go through.
Well, first, we gotta vote first.
Oh, okay, sorry. Commissioner Shea,
Yes.
Commissioner Lemon,
Yes.
Commissioner Espitia,
Yes.
Mayor Donchev.
Yes, and now we will go into non-public session. Thank you. All right, Commissioner, we're back in public session now. Commissioner Shea.
I move by roll call to seal the minutes of the Board of Public Works Personnel Non-Public Meetings of January 25th, 2024, until such time as the majority of the board votes that the purpose of the confidentiality would no longer be served.
Commissioner Shea?
Yes.
Commissioner Lemon?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Mayor Donalds?
Yes, motion passes. That's the last item on our agenda. Commissioner Lemon.
I motion that the Board of Public Works meeting today be closed.
There's a motion to adjourn. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Motion passes, and the meeting of the Board of Public Works is adjourned at 5:12 PM.